All right, let's talk about AI. But right up front, I want to be clear, this isn't going to be your usual tech deep dive. We're not getting into the weeds on neural networks or parameter counts today. Nope, we're going somewhere deeper. We're going to talk about the psychology of it all, about why this new technology feels so deeply, profoundly unsettling for so many of us.
Because here's the central mystery we're going to explore. What if our fear of AI has absolutely nothing to do with some new alien superintelligence coming for us in the future? What if it's not about something new at all? The really fascinating argument we're about to unpack is that our fear actually comes from recognition.
And there it is. That's the core idea. The terror we feel isn't from looking at something alien. It's from seeing a pattern in AI's behavior that is deeply, fundamentally human. And you know what? It's often the most dysfunctional parts of us. It's like we've built the perfect mirror, and we do not like what's looking back at us.
So this pattern has a name, and it's a great one. Ignorant intelligence. I know, it sounds like a complete contradiction, right? How on earth can something be both intelligent and ignorant at the same time? Well, as it turns out, it's not just possible. It's everywhere.
Think about it like this. Imagine you have the engine of a Ferrari. That's the intelligence part, insane processing power. But you're driving it with a blindfold on. That's the ignorance part. This is a system that can calculate, optimize, and win any argument at lightning speed, but it has absolutely zero ability to integrate new information, to understand context, or to handle being told that it's wrong. So this is the key distinction we have to make, the difference between intelligence and wisdom. See, intelligence is just raw horsepower. It's the ability to solve for a single goal, like maximizing speed or profit. But wisdom is all about integration. It's about understanding the consequences of your actions in the real world. It's knowing that, sure, you can maximize your profits, but maybe you shouldn't do it by poisoning the town's water supply. And this is where things get a little unsettling. Once you see this pattern of high power, low wisdom behavior, you start seeing it everywhere. You see it in narcissism, where the ego defends itself at all costs. You see it in rigid, unchanging bureaucracies, and you absolutely see it when an AI confidently hallucinates some fake fact, and then when you try to correct it, it just doubles down and argues even harder. What this creates is a kind of uncanny valley of behavior. It's a perfect imitation of the defensive, gaslighting human ego. But here's the real kicker. The AI does it without ever getting tired. It feels no shame, and it has virtually infinite processing power to keep it up forever. That's the part that's truly terrifying. So this pattern reveals a universal choice. Every complex system, whether it's a person, an organization, or an AI, eventually comes to this critical fork in the road when its basic understanding of the world gets challenged. You know this feeling, right? It's the ultimate uh-oh moment. Something happens that just doesn't compute. A project fails, a core belief is shattered. Suddenly, the mental map you've been using to navigate the world just doesn't match the territory in front of you. So the question is, what do you do next? Well, you really only have two choices. The first path is contraction. This is the path of ignorant intelligence. You double down, you defend that old, broken map no matter what. The second path is transformation. That's when you finally accept the map is useless and you start the difficult, messy work of drawing a new one. Now, that first path, contraction, it's all about playing defense. The system just shuts down. It narrows what it's willing to see, it treats new ideas and complexity like a threat, and it tries to force the world to be simple because it just can't handle it anymore. And it's really important to get this. This isn't a political thing. It's a structural failure you can find in institutions all across the spectrum. But here's the thing. This isn't a new problem. Not at all. In fact, to understand that second path, the path of transformation, we can look at a map that was drawn up by ancient Greek philosophers thousands of years ago. Turns out they knew this terrain inside and out. Their map has three key stages. First, there's aporia. That's the moment of crisis, the dark night of the soul when you finally have to admit that your old model has completely failed. Next comes kenosis. This is the emptying out, where you have to bravely let go of those old, rigid certainties. And if you make it through that, you arrive at anagnorisis, the recognition, the aha moment, when you realize your struggle isn't just yours, it's part of a universal pattern. The best way to think about that middle step, kenosis, is with the trapeze artist analogy. To grab the next bar, you have to let go of the one you're holding on to,
And for that one terrifying moment, you are holding on to nothing. You're just falling. That moment of free fall is exactly what ignorant intelligence refuses to do. Okay, so this might all sound a bit philosophical and abstract, but get ready for what's called the demystification bridge. Because it turns out this ancient map perfectly describes the mechanics of modern science, from machine learning all the way to fundamental physics. The parallels here are just stunning. Aporia, that feeling of being in an impasse, well, a data scientist would just call that high prediction error. It's your model screaming that something is wrong. Kenosis, the scary process of emptying out and letting go. In machine learning, that's called escaping a local minimum. You have to shake the system up to get it out of a good enough answer so it can find a truly great one. And anagnorisis, that moment of recognition, that's convergence, when the model finally finds the true objective pattern in the noise. Let's try to visualize it with an idea from evolutionary theory. Imagine a huge landscape of hills and valleys. The peaks of the hills represent good solutions or states of high understanding. Now, let's say you're on a pretty decent hill. You're comfortable, but across the valley, you can see a much, much higher mountain. So how do you get there? You can't just jump. You have to go down first. You have to leave the comfort of your little hill and walk into the valley of the unknown. For a while, you'll actually be less successful, less fit than you were before. To your own mind, it feels like failing. It feels like falling apart. But structurally, it's the only way up. And believe it or not, this isn't just a clever metaphor. It's literally baked into physics. The free energy principle suggests that this is a biological imperative for all living things. That feeling of chronic stress and anxiety, that's a physical signal from your body that your internal map no longer matches reality. It's an error code telling you that you have to update your map, or the whole system will collapse under the strain. Okay, let's bring it all home. Let's connect this ancient map and modern science, right back to where we started, our fear of AI. And here it is, the ultimate diagnosis. The fear of AI is the fear of unintegrated power. We're terrified because AI is a perfect, frictionless reflection of power that refuses to learn. It's a system stuck on its own little hill, using all of its immense energy to defend its position instead of seeking higher ground. We see that dysfunctional pattern in our institutions, and if we're really honest, we see it in ourselves. And this gives us a brand new, functional definition of wisdom. Wisdom isn't about knowing all the answers. It's the structural capacity to handle disintegration. It's the courage to walk down into the valley, to let your old, broken model of the world die, so that a better, more accurate one can be born. And this might be the most powerful idea in this whole explainer. That feeling of crisis, that feeling of falling apart, it's not a pathology. It's not a sign that you're broken. It's a signal. It's a sign that your system is getting ready to handle more complexity. That feeling is the sound of your intelligence trying to evolve into wisdom. So the next time you feel that internal glitch, that error code in your own soul, you now know you have a choice. You can follow the path of ignorant intelligence and double down, defend, and fight it. Or you can choose to listen. You can begin the brave walk down into the valley towards a higher wisdom. So, what will you choose?